This episode of WoW Weekly is brought to you by WoWweekly.net, your source for Warcraft and Blizzard news, guides, and editorials.
This week in Warcraft, new character model previews have been released for both the male Tauren and the female Draenei, and Celestlon and Zarhim have sat down for some interviews this week, sharing some more details about the things to come. I'm Mezzy and welcome to our weekly, episode number 30. I'm joined today by LJ. How are you, LJ?
Good evening, I'm quite well, and yourself?
Not too bad. Project is mostly over, so that's lots less stress.
That's good. That's important.
And joining us today, the Wookiee, Matt. How are you, Matt?
Not bad.
Well, glad to hear it.
Alright, not bad. Sorted. In it.
Enjoyed your weekend?
Yeah, my day of lounging on the sofa, resting a ailing body part has been really quite entertaining.
Well, good to hear it. So let's get right into it. Yeah, let's start with last week. You guys were worried about the Warlord's changes and their effect it would have on healing. So, for those that didn't see our last podcast, Matt, what were you worried about when it came to healing in Warlords of Draenor?
Oh, God, blimey, now I've got to remember everything I said last week. I think a lot of the stuff me and LJ were talking about was they were taking away sort of the mana regen, getting their numbers correct. I know they're trying to up mana regen and everything like that, but it's just based on what figures they're using, all this type of stuff, and just cast times on spells and how it's all going to work. I like each class is slightly different, and each class has its strengths and bonuses. But looking at it, they're putting certain cast times on everything, so. Okay, we're still going to have the certain strength, but it's going to be slightly more merged. Yeah. I'm just a little bit worried about that as well. So, but mainly taking the mana regen off three of the classes and not the other one. But as everyone has said, it is alpha. But it does seem to be making an ultimate one class mana battery.
Yeah. LJ, do you have anything to add to those concerns?
No, not really. I think Matt's formulated it all quite well.
Alright, so let's go into the interviews then. In the interview with Converts Raid, the developers talked about really the removal of mana regen abilities, the exact thing you guys were worried about. So they felt that the spells, such as Innervate, didn't really have a gameplay value, and so instead it was just a button you had to hit every 1-2 minutes to replenish some of your mana. So they decided to remove that, and what they're going to do instead is to just significantly boost your mana regen. Now they're still going to look at active mana regeneration abilities, but they have no announcements to make yet. And then they wanted to add that, don't forget it's the first alpha iteration, so plenty could and probably will change. So, does this make you feel more comfortable about mana regen going into Warlords of Draenor?
From my point of view, I sort of think that their argument is a little bit false anyway, because I like the aspect of the mana regen and stuff like that in the groups using Innovate. You have to the amount of fights where I've sat there before, like thinking, okay, I've done that now. I've got my Innovate coming up for this. Do you know what I mean? When you have judged the fight, and sometimes with healers, it can be, if you're 10 seconds away from having your mana Innovate back, it could be a few spells, it could be life or death for some of the raid members. So I like that aspect of it, having the choice of having the extra spell. It's just something else to think about, some more tactics for you personally about how you play your character to sort out. And then just, again, taking out the choice aspect of how you want to play and just saying, no, it's all right, will make the decision for you, which is fair enough. That's how they want to go. But I do quite like the flexibility of having the spell to use how I want, not how the mechanics, not how the game wants it to work.
Do you see it as a lack of depth then as well? Removing the innervate, for example?
At the moment, because they say that they're removing a few other spells. I don't know. It's going to be. We've got to see how everything plays, see how it works out. But like from a jury's point of view, at the minute, I personally, I know, I've spoke to other people who don't think this, but I look at some of the spells at the moment, and it looks like we're being shoehorned into tank healing when you get into the end game. Because I think we looked at it last week. You look at the bonuses we get for our skills when we level up. I think out of all the bonuses we get one one improves damage of wrath by 20%, which last time I checked, wrath's a pretty pointless healing apart from unless you're trying to do a certain spec. So I think there was two improved damage, and the other ones I think 2 improved healing touch, like crit and this type of stuff, and one was life. One was to do with life bloom. I think one was to do with Ironbark or tank spell. So it just seemed to me that, and people can say I'm completely wrong, completely bonkers, which they can happily do, but it seemed to me they were shoehorning you into specific roles. And as I said with paladins, they'll never be able to move. They'll never be able to heal again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the main difficulty I have with what they changed with the paladin, that you're going to be static as hell. But going about mana regen and mana stuff, I think that I agree with what you say as far in-depth playing of a healer. So sometimes I think that mana and mana regen and stuff like, for me, divine plea and for you innervate can sometimes be a bit constricting in what you do, because basically I agree with what they say, that it doesn't really add that much, though that it's just a button that you press to regain mana. Same with me. I mean, it used to be like even more restricting because divine plea used to reduce your healing by minus 50% for the duration. I mean, they've removed that since and made it just very useful, a lot more useful. But I still think that if they proactive reduce the cost of healing and increase the mana regen, that will make a healer a much more pleasant type of utility class to play, because there'll be less worrying about all the side stuff like the mana, for instance, and you could just focus solely on the healing and keeping people alive. And while I've always grown up with mana problems, especially like when the expansion comes out and you do your first dungeons when you hit max level, there's always going to be a lot of mana problems, and it's good to learn from that, but it has certain boundaries and certain constraints as well. And I think that by constraining a person by not being able to do anything because they do not have the resource that it has required is the wrong kind of constraint to put on a class whatsoever, because I think at the moment healers are the only one that have that problem. That if they run out of a certain out of the resource mana, that the raid can be screwed over. I mean, tanks won't run out of runic power, rage, or whatever. DPS,
health, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, health, but that's what we're for. We want to convert that mana into health. But I mean, like, DPS never run out. I mean, we have mages and warlocks with the same mana regen, or evocation and such, which also gives a DPS deep increase. Like divine doesn't increase my healing and just makes me able to heal. So I think that when you view all the classes and all the possibilities, I think the way they're going now, it really appeals to me, to be honest.
Yeah, it does. To me, it does seem very, very silly when you word it like that. The fact that no other spec really struggles for the resources they need.
It's only healers. Healers.
You might turn around and say hunters might, but that's if they get the rotation wrong. Rogues might, but that's if they get the rotation wrong. 9 times out of 10, the rotations that have spells to dump the resource that they use, but it's only healers. It have every single one, and the only other specs you'll ever get, like mage and that, and Shadow Priest when I've played them that will run out of mana is if you are AoEing continuously. So it's a bit flawed where you've almost got to continuously AoE to even contemplate running out of mana. And it's a little bit silly saying there, well, maybe that's why they are just looking at the healers to make it more like that, but we've still got to run out of mana eventually.
Exactly. So, there's two things I want to interject, two concerns. The first being, at the start of the expansion, healers having a lot of a struggle with their mana. That's exactly what they want to adjust. So that's, at the beginning of an expansion, it's not so bad as that you run out of mana very quickly, and that at the end of the expansion, you don't have a full mana pool unless you do some crazy stuff. That's the first thing they want to address with these changes. The second is, and I had to look up this from one of the interviews quickly, they say the following: and even with the item squish, we want tanks to have a bigger health pool, and tanks should be able to mitigate damage rather than rely on healers all the time to keep them alive. So, as far as you're concerned, to make you just focus on tanks, they want to do the opposite of that. They want to give tanks more of a responsibility to keep themselves alive with their active mitigation spells, which have come up pretty bigly in Mists of Pandaria. They want to continue along those lines, and so the intention is for you to still focus on the ranged and DPS and stuff like that. They don't want you to only focus on the tank because they want the tank to be responsible for basically a lot of the damage they take.
That's fair enough, but I think healing tanks is 9 times out of 10 now is not really an issue. Okay, you're going to get certain fights where the way they've designed it, the what's the word? Spamminess. The way the damage comes into the fight, it will affect you.
Distribution
Distribution of the damage. Yeah, that's when it will affect you. But 9 times out of 10, it's got nothing to do with like the healing. Well, the tank's very rare. Like we've got a druid tank at the moment. Most fights, he hardly needs healing. So, at the start of an expansion, I personally expect to be out of mana. I expect tanks to die. I expect healers, DPS to struggle. This is what I mean. That is what a start of an expansion means, and that's what it should be. I don't know. I may be reading into it. I just don't think there should be any shortcuts in that. It's going to be a start of an expansion. So, if they're using those excuses about changing stuff, it's a pretty bad analogy to use because at the start of an expansion, that's what you expect anyway.
Oh, maybe it will be different now. You'll also, Matt, can you put your mic a bit further away?
Oh, there you go.
Maybe that, with the exception of gearing up, because you will still need gear to get more stats and be able to do more. But with the exception of that, maybe they will make it a bit easier at the start of the expansion, but then a bit harder at the end, so that it's closer to each other, as in difficulty. I may be wording that a bit clumsily, but I think
we know what you mean.
Yeah, you get the drift.
We catch the drift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, unless there's any comments on that, LJ?
No, not at
Okay.
all, to be honest.
Then let's just move on to what else was said in the interviews. So they went on to say that while Cataclysm Healing had bad parts, apparently you guys had nightmares about it or something. Did you guys have nightmares about Cataclysm Healing?
I think everybody had nightmares about Cataclysm.
Yes, but the healing aspect?
I absolutely loved it. I don't know why.
Well, you're probably the one. You're the 1%.
It was a perverse pleasure, but you got to think about this. The reason I loved the start of Cata and Healing is because it was the last time in a dungeon since TBC where I have thought, bloody hell, I'm having to heal 100% best I can possibly heal. It was the last time it was really pushing me, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Every dungeon since, okay, there's been times when I thought, oh, I best wake up now. But 9 times out of 10, most dungeon sins you can sleep through. They're not a challenge at all. Maybe sometimes you'll go into the group and you'll think, oh, look at that tank in greens. Okay, I best concentrate this one. But apart from that, I understand people's problem with it because we did sort of get the end of Wrath of the Lich King where everything, even those was it ICC
Halls of reflection in the
all the reflection and stuff like that when they just gave you when they went into mental. Here's your epic loot
Yeah.
mode. But even then, they were relatively easy on heroic, and they were meant to be like the hardest things out there because you got epic and it wasn't. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I just thought it was a challenge. Unfortunately, you did need a relatively decent group to do it.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, the Cataclysm had bad parts, as you just heard from Matt and LJ, but they said it had good parts as well. And so with the increased regen, they sorry, I'm really tripping over words today. With the increased regen, they intend
Pick
to
him up from the ground there, man. Jeez. Don't let him lay all about there.
Uh-huh. Okay. Thanks, LJ. I'll try this for a third time. How about I do that?
Yeah, that might be a thing.
So with the regen, they intend to make it so that you can still cast good, efficient heals on basically your mana regen alone. So that you're not always mana starved, and if you do make a mistake, then you might have to wait for a few seconds, I guess, but you'll be able to correct it. Now they don't want to make healing harder, but just less one-dimensional. So Thok wouldn't work like it does now, where you go to, well, about 50% of your health, and then have to be healed back up as soon as possible. The Durumu maze phase would do a lot less damage. So, yeah, healers could, I guess, focus more on dodging as well. I don't know. What did you think of the Durumu maze phase, Matt?
I liked it, but I'm a druid, so I'm allowed to like it.
If
Yeah.
you don't like it, then there's no hope for that phases like that. So yeah.
Yeah.
That part was purely designed for druids.
Yeah.
So I thought
it wasn't made for paladins, at least.
No,
I'll
so
tell you
let's
that.
talk to the paladin. LJ, are you glad you won't have such a hard time with mazes? I guess Durumu type stuff?
I would shoot myself if I say that I'm gonna miss it. I mean, I hated that part. It's good. It's a nice mechanic, for everybody else except me. Paladins or other static players, basically. I mean, I couldn't. I had to save certain cooldowns to even do remote amount of healing on that bit because it's just so shit. I mean, you have disc priests who can disc everybody, who can have some heals like I don't know, renew or prayer of mending. We have the druids. Let's not talk about them because they can just dash everything.
easy.
They can
Said
just
plenty,
dash
right?
everything out there. I only had my holy shock, which with the cooldown gave me 3 holy powers, so I could do either a what's it called, the divine light, not the divine light, the AOE, or a eternal flame, so I could hot somebody. I mean, it was utter shit for me.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm glad that they are adjusting that, thinking about it, making it better at least for players. I mean, it's just they a lot of players play other classes, but it's just I feel like they often center certain things around a certain play style, so other classes get left out. Like paladins, for instance, who've always been like the tank healer, but have always been very static. Okay, that's fine. I've gotten used to it. But some fights, it's just like, how the hell am I supposed to do this? I've got to keep moving and keep healing. That's impossible for me.
Yeah.
Not at this rate. I mean, I
don't
can,
know what you
I
meant
could do it.
about in that fight. That was, symbiosis, a shaman, tranquil wandering around.
Exactly.
Well, at least your symbiosis is now gone.
Which
Suck it!
I'm actually a little bit gutted about that because it's
You want to know the reason why they did it?
yeah.
They said it was part of the ability bloat problem, and they tried to rework it, but it just continued to give issues. So they just removed it completely.
Well, I always thought that was really good because I think out of all the healers, druids. Well, they are no, actually. Now you can tell me this because I think this is accurate. They are reworking. Is it Ursox Might or something like that? The one I use every now and then when I'm in the grab to turn into a bear with stupid amounts of health.
Don't ask me druid specific stuff.
I think they are. I'm pretty sure I read it somewhere that they are reworking that as another defensive cooldown. But I've always thought that druids themselves really have had some of the weakest defensive cooldowns because 9 times out of 10, yeah, we've got Iron Bark, which we have to put on a tank normally, and we have Bark Skin.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Whereas all the other healers seem to have something a little bit better.
Well, I have one thing basically for that. I have a lot of cooldowns that how to say amplify my effect, my healing effect, like speed, mastery, so I get better shields and better heals. But I only have Hand of Sacrifice to actually reduce damage on somebody. I mean, I have a talent, so I can use it twice. I have a glyph, so it doesn't damage me in the process. Because it officially does the damage that the person takes, it also doesn't me, but the glyph nullifies that. But I mean, there are two things that you have to actually make it worthwhile, basically.
Yeah. Well, they are reducing the amount of cooldowns in general. That is part of the ability bloat solution.
I'll just jump in here because I quite like that, to be honest, because as much as we like cooldowns, I am more for like also with for instance Diablo. I play a wizard, and of course they have Archon, which is the mother of all cooldowns. But I also use 3 passives that increase my DPS for the whole time. I mean, I like that more sustained and very good damage than spiky damage, like with healing now, for instance. I mean, that I like that they want to make it more equal and sustained on tanks, that you can actually heal them, than the spiky. Oh shit, he is down to 5% health, and he's up to again for the next minute, and then he's down again, and stuff like that. I mean, it just makes it, I wouldn't say easier, but better, nicer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't want to sound like I disagree with the thing if you're not with the squish. I actually do think squish is a good idea because there are a lot of pointless heals, as I said last week. The way they've worked healing touch now and the way they've sort of worked regrowth with the glyphs, it's actually like Nourish is now really quite a pointless spell. Not many people will be using that, so that's not really a bad loss. So I can understand that. I say it's just I quite like Symbiosis. It was sort of a gimmicky spell. It helped you out at certain times. It gave you silly things at certain times. But with regards to losing a spell you've only had from an expansion, I think it was a little bit of that as well.
Yeah, but that was with mine as well. I mean, Blinding Light. When have you ever seen anybody use Blinding Light? You guys probably never ever even heard of it before me.
Wasn't Blinding Light the spell that on one of the very first sort of raid beta videos was absolutely amazing? Sort of like
no, that was Holy Radiance, so that was
okay.
not this, but the previous expansion, Cataclysm. That was pretty amazing, but they nerfed and corrected that pretty fast as well. But Blinding Light was basically a cast, I believe, or was it instant? Either one of the two.
It's that good that you use it all the time.
Yeah, exactly. I think I've used it once or twice to actually see what it does. It basically dazzles. Makes 5 targets dazed.
Dazed or disoriented?
Disoriented, I think. So they couldn't do anything until they got hit by damage. So even in PvP, it's useless because you'll get hit in 0.1 second. I mean, when were we ever going to use that? That's really one of the skills that was implemented. That was, okay, Paladins need a skill. What are we going to give them? Something useless. Okay, let's do it in.
Yeah, it was.
Why?
For the sake of giving you a new skill.
Exactly. Might as well just not.
That type of thing, I understand, as we've both said, that is there for the sake of a skill. So you can understand that. Symbiosis was actually quite useful. Do you know what I mean? It was one of those that wasn't really for the sake of a skill.
Yeah.
And I don't know what other classes got, but yeah, I say we can go back to that anytime. I'll still be cranky about it. But
Well, let's go on to the last healer thing then. So to complete the healing part of the interviews, they said that the players can be on less than 100% health during the boss fights and not die by getting hit by one hard-hitting ability. Now, last week you were also concerned with that, getting them to 80% and then not really doing anything else. But really, their intention is so that once they're at a bit higher health, you can place just a hot on them, and you don't have to worry about them without them dying to Thok, for example, the roar on heroic. So
I don't want to say anything, but that sounds boring as hell.
well,
Well, you're telling me the way they want to design the boss. Okay, yes, it won't be as bad, but they don't like as spiky damage. So they're selling it as, yes, we're going to make healing so much better when someone's at 80% of health. All you have to do is put a hot and not worry at all.
well, the thing is, and I don't have documentation on this, but I believe it was either on Twitter or in some other audio format. That they did say they want to give healers more interesting challenges during raiding. So you might be getting other stuff to heal or do.
Oh joy!
What a response.
Yeah. Oh joy! Welcome to another expansion full of gimmicks.
Yeah, I hope they don't do another Firelands, because then I'll just shoot myself. Fuck that shit.
Okay,
Excuse
let
my
them
French.
let them do another Firelands.
Thanks, LJ. I knew you'd
You're welcome.
understand.
Always.
So let's move on to something we've complained about in the past. So during the interviews, they got asked about why the lack of information since BlizzCon. They went on to say that, yeah, well, we didn't want to take away Diablo 3's and Hearthstone's thunder with their releases. But that they also had problems occur, like the client issues, so that delayed the start of the alpha, I guess. And that we should be seeing a lot more coming from World of Warcraft now in the form of blogs, including a series about garrisons that should start, which is, I guess, now 1 to 2 weeks instead of 2 to 3 weeks. So my question to you guys is, because we were also frustrated about this, was this the right road to take for Blizzard? To wait until Diablo 3 and Hearthstone had done their launches of their games?
Can I say something that I said a couple of weeks ago?
Go for it.
And you went, no, don't be that cynical. I
Okay.
said, isn't it really ironic that doing no information whatsoever, and there's a new game out?
Yeah.
And now they've admitted it.
Yeah.
At the end
you're
of the
right.
day, at the end of the day, for me, I'm going to swear in my next sentence. I do apologise, people. Here is a disclaimer. It's got fuck all to do with the other games, what people do on Warcraft. It will not take thunder or anything. You want to play Diablo, you'll play Diablo. We want to know what's happening on Warcraft because we play Warcraft. It does not care what happens on the other ones. What a lame excuse. Anyway, rant over.
And LJ, did you think why? Just release
Well,
it anyway?
I think that, of course, from our point of view and from gaming point of view, it's pretty weird because we all see it as different games. But from a business point of view, of course, it's what you call, cannibalism, basically.
Mhm.
They don't want to eat away at their own potential, basically, and that's what they try to do. So, I fully understand why they did it. I wouldn't advise it for them to do it again because they waited pretty long before anything got announced. So
Pretty much
yeah.
for months. 3
yeah,
months.
exactly. So that's taking it too far, to be honest. But I understand why they did it. But it still doesn't mean it was the right choice.
My other thing for that is, though, and I completely agree with what you're saying, that, yeah, that is why they've done it. But everything they've released so far, You name me one thing that would have, in theory, taken any thunder away from Diablo.
Nothing.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely nothing.
They- I understand the concept of what they're talking about, which is fine, which is perfectly fair, but they've not released anything record breaking. They've not said anything out of the ordinary. And then they say, oh, with this, but then they manage to waste enough time on pissing around with what was it? Pissing around with April Fools and stuff like that. Yeah, okay, they can do it every year, fair enough. But they brought April Fools out before they did any major patches on WoW, and you're just sitting there going, what's the priority? Is the priority just to have a laugh? Or is the priority to actually, as they said in BlizzCon, time after time after time after time, we're only here for the community, man. To actually show the community what they're doing, and it just didn't seem that way. And to be fair, you can say hands off to them with Diablo because they've done a bloody good job with Diablo. It is the game that we all thought it should have been originally. Fair enough.
Now it is, yeah.
And that is fun, but to me, knowing that not Elder Scrolls, I'm playing that at the moment. Knowing that the expansion's not going to be out for another 4 months, 5 months. It doesn't. Why? Who the hell would think they'd lose stuff for it? Because we've still got God knows how long of time. I just think it was it's a calculation they thought. It's a calculation they probably looked at it at board level, and then they might be realising afterwards that we probably made a mistake there.
Possibly, yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with you guys. They shouldn't have done it because if it had been a release of Warlords of Draenor, of course, I'd understand. But then I'd think they'd prioritize Warlords of Draenor before the other two. Because WoW has earned them probably the most money of other franchises at the moment.
Yeah, and it's a bit weird to even mention Hearthstone in that as well, because
Everyone has had the open beta before the release.
Everyone's had open beta. It's a free-to-play game where they're going to make a bit of money from. So I just find it a little bit strange that they'd even say, we didn't want to take anything away from our free-to-play game. Huh? So they're almost saying that their free-to-play game, which they'll make a bit of money from, they're putting more emphasis in the people that play that than the people that pay to play this game, and we're paying to pay the expansion. These people that have already paid
a lot of money
for certain things, and I don't know. It's full, but also Diablo, fair enough. But again, it's a one-off payment. Don't really have to. You don't pay anything else for it. So yeah,
exactly.
I don't know. So to me, and this is my point of view, I'm not a CEO of a multi-million company, so hey, that's probably why my view's not amazing, but I don't agree with it. I think it was a miscalculation. I seriously reckon if they did it again, they'd actually go, yeah, fair enough, we made a mistake.
Yeah, so let's move on, because they did actually release something this week, just not much of in-depth stuff. They showed 2 more character model previews. First of all, the Tauren one on Monday, with the animations and stuff as well. The detail is amazing, by the way. And the female Draenei, after the April Fool's joke, they thought we should probably release something that's real as well. And they did that on Tuesday already. I was quite surprised that they released both of them so soon. Just general thoughts, reactions. Do they look good?
They look good. Better than what you have now, to be honest.
Yeah, I'll say it looked good. I think they had to, with the Draenei one, they had to bring it out quickly.
Yeah.
There was no realm of them not. I think this was when they sort of looked at it, because I think they did get a little bit of negative feedback from the fact that they did that on April Fool, when there was so much lack of information on everything else. So they probably thought, you know what, we've got the information there. We'll just give it out, because they didn't actually give that much on the Draenei.
No, they gave pretty much the same amount as they did for most of the models. The Tauren one was the first one that was pretty in-depth as far as the animations with YouTube videos and stuff. For the female Draenei, yeah, just the same type we've seen for other models as well. What I do wonder though is why do the Draenei want before other races from vanilla? Wow, shouldn't those be given priority?
Well,
Now,
what are we waiting for now? I don't think we're waiting for that much from vanilla now, are we?
a lot from the Horde side, I'm pretty sure we still need to see, especially the female counterparts.
I'm trying to think. We've had both set. Well, I'm just thinking now from out. We've had both set of dwarves. We've had both sets of gnomes.
Yeah.
We've not had night elf yet.
No, they threw that one out of the window because a model was data mined for the Night Elf, and it was bald and stuff like that. And they definitely, yeah.
So yeah, maybe they just thought because they are doing those classes. Maybe they just thought, okay, we can do it, and that's fair enough. But hey, it's information. It's a bit more, so you can't really knock it.
Yeah.
I think it looked pretty cool. I like the detail they've gone into with the cow one. Good old. The only thing I think left from those videos was actually milking the thing. So it was quite good.
Okay, well, I'm looking at WoW Weekly, filtering on the character models, and we've had the female human, the female orc, the female dwarf, and then the male Tauren and female night elf. Not night elf. Draenei, sorry. So, a lot of the horde is missing. We've had just the female orc one.
We've had male orc as well.
Yes, but I think those were previewed at BlizzCon, so they didn't get their own blog post.
Ah.
So, yeah. A lot of the horde is still missing.
Well, trolls will be interesting. I think you never know.
I'm
It
looking
might be-
forward to that.
I'm actually looking
Yeah,
forward
me
to
too.
seeing the troll because I've always thought that the trolls are ugly as hell. That's my personal opinion. They are
Yeah.
minging to look at.
That's the thing, though, because, yeah, they are pretty ugly models, but the lore behind the trolls is good. I really like it. From Warcraft 3, I think, as well.
With Virgin.
Exactly, with Vol'jin, so I'm looking forward to the troll models, even though we play Alliance. Let's move on to the discussion points. I think there's not much else to say. Check out the character model previews on wowweekly.net. Plug again. Let's move on. PAX East is this weekend, and yesterday they brought out some news for Hearthstone and Heroes of the Storm. Now, seeing as we don't have any big in-depth discussion planned for the discussion point this week, we're just going to talk about that, our initial reactions. Let's start with Heroes of the Storm, and they came out with some new heroes. And so to start off with, we're going to show you the trailer for one of the new heroes. It's really enjoyable, so check it out.
Oh, hi, new friend. I am Brightwing. Do you know about fairy dragons? Well, we like happy things, like nature and making new friends. Ooh, and snack time. When playing with friends, the fun never ends. Hey, come back.
So that was Brightwing. Snack time, guys. That was funny. I quite liked it. It's obviously a psychotic fairy dragon, though. What do you guys?
Who doesn't like that?
Yeah. So other than Brightwing, we're going to have Lily, the Pandaren brat from Four Winds that gave us quests and stuff like that. Zagara from Heart of the Swarm, and Murky the Murloc. Now we'll get to each one of them individually, but seeing as we started with the Brightwing, what do you guys think?
Well, what is there to think? I mean, he looks pretty awesome, and I think he's going to be a lot of fun. So, I mean,
Is
let
it
them.
good that they're introducing more massive lore type heroes?
Yeah, I
I
think
think so too.
I agree. I think the whole issue you may have if they start pushing it a bit too much with the going towards almost forcing to have. It's almost like, look at this! Oh my god! It's almost like forcing you head first into liking all the lore characters, but a few silly ones. Yeah, I think that's good having a few silly daft ones that hopefully people enjoy playing. Lily, I'm going to enjoy killing that character multiple times.
I think we'll all enjoy killing Lily. Let's go over their abilities a bit. Brightwing can passively heal allies nearby. She can transform enemies into animals, and she can teleport from ally to allies to heal them. Lily, so the Pandaren brat.
Is an alcoholic at 5.
Yeah, so she's a new support hero with the ability to help her basically just aid her allies. She can. I'm
Be
guessing she's going
annoying.
to have shields.
She's going to be annoying in every single way. Constantly ask questions, wanting to be taken to places you really don't want to take her to.
Exactly. She'll make your enemy run away. They don't want to hear her talk.
Exactly.
They'll just look and go, "Oh my god, run!"
So Zagara, the queen, the queen from StarCraft, basically not the queen of the Zergs, but the type of queen you'd have in game to get more larvae and stuff like that. She's more of a pushing the towers type hero. She can put down creep. She can use a Nidus Worm to teleport to different lanes. And apparently she can summon Banelings, so I can't wait to test her out. Because Banelings, I gotta love them in StarCraft.
Yep.
But she seems more of the pushing type hero that you don't really want to battle heroes with, but you really just want to defeat the creep with, and then the towers and what's in Heroes of the Storm, the Nexus.
Yep.
Last hero is Murky. I don't know what to think about Murky. Murky apparently just dies a lot, but the crux is instead of getting the respawn timer again, you're supposed to lay an egg somewhere, and if that egg is alive when you die, you respawn at the egg instantly. So my first question to that is, are the enemy heroes going to get a lot of extra experience because of this? Or will it be tied to if you kill the egg and then Murky, you get the experience?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
well, that we can't. That's a more rhetorical question because you can't even answer that yet. So I have no
No,
idea. We'll see.
exactly.
That just sounds funny.
It does, doesn't it?
It just sounds completely daft.
Well, I mean,
Just run in.
it's one of those games that's supposed to be like that, huh?
I know. We've got a couple of friends that couch sounds perfect for. But anyway, just run in, die.
Oh, is it a certain warlock that you're talking about?
Well, yeah, I think he'll love it.
I can imagine him enjoying this character as well. Yeah. But overall, more diverse characters than you'd have expected, considering the heroes that they've released up to now. So far, it's been really just the main heroes, major lore characters, and stuff like that. Wow, Murky, yeah, he's an in-game pet. You wouldn't really expect him to be a hero in Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah.
He is. I mean, Murky. It's not just Murky. It's the Murlocs. I mean, Murky represents a whole. It's like a iconic piece of World of Warcraft. I mean, everybody knows Murlocs, even if you haven't played. Well, maybe not all. I mean, that sound, which is so well represented by my colleague.
Yeah, there is even a Murloc app, and I have it right here.
You have a Murloc app. That's going. I can do the impression, but that's going too far.
I downloaded it. Not sure if you can hear that.
Yeah, we can, unfortunately.
Yes, we can, and we're sitting and going, how dare you?
I'm sorry for thinking it's funny. Well, let's move on to Hearthstone then, because apparently you guys don't like this app and stuff like that.
That's almost
Oh,
as bad as my lightsaber app on my phone.
I like it because it goes to show how big it is, basically. Murlocs in
Murloc.
general.
Yeah.
So
WoW
yeah.
has left quite an impression on the gaming community at some point.
Yep.
So the other thing, and I think Matt will enjoy this one more, is the Curse of Naxxramas. They're rehashing Naxxramas again, guys, but in Hearthstone. We're going to have PvE Adventure Mode, and that's going to release in the summer. There will be 30 new cards, and basically it's, I guess, what you would call raids from the WoW TGC, the trading card game, that has been cancelled now.
Is that actually been cancelled now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's been been like that for a while now. Actually, I think since Hearthstone went into beta, it was
Yeah,
very
much.
suspicious, the timing of that.
It was almost like, hey, we're cancelling your trading card game. Hey, we have another card game.
Yeah. Well,
Exactly.
it's all business at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, what do you guys think? PvE mode, that's more challenging than the AI, the beginner and expert AI that you can face in Hearthstone right now. And they'll give you a chance to earn the new cards. Are you looking forward to this, or are you more into playing people when you play Hearthstone?
For me, as I said, as I told you, I'm waiting for it to come on the iPad over. Yeah, I don't actually. It's not one of those games I will sit on the PC and play it. It's more of a game that I'll have on the iPad, probably while I'm playing the PC, just playing someone while I'm multitasking. So I'll play it more next week. But yeah, it sounds a bit more content that doesn't involve going against people is always going to be welcome. And if that's what the way they're going to be going, looks like it should be a nice little add-on to the game.
Yeah, and LJ, any thoughts to this for Hearthstone?
Oh, I like the idea, so I'm just gonna wait and see how it goes, of course. But it's just I like that they're adding already to the game. So I mean, or that they plan to. So I mean, I like it.
Yeah, what I really like about this is it shows that they're really fast-paced in adding new stuff to Hearthstone. It's not like, okay, we've released it, it's done for a while or something like that.
No, they
It's
keep on
really-
it. Yeah.
exactly. It's more like a trading card game where every few months, I guess, or maybe half a year, new content gets released for it. So it does play into it's a card game, and we want people to continue to be engaged in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there is that, and you never know. Hopefully, it might lead on to giving quicker content or more varied content in WoD when it fully gets going.
That it's kind of the mentality seeps into the WoW team.
Yeah, just that mentality sort of sees in there. Because I don't know, so I play a lot of other games. I'm trying to play a lot of other games, see what they're like, and a lot of other games now seem to be sort of doing the whole. They do a lot more content or a lot more up patches, but they'll probably do a few smaller patches than what.
Like WoW started out doing a Mists of Pandaria, but after Siege of Orgrimmar completely broke.
Yeah. Not even because sort of because they tried it. They started out by releasing a lot of little bits and bobs. I wouldn't really say Siege. Oh yeah, it was really Siege because you had all the little pre things, didn't you, beforehand?
Yeah, because you first had Map 5.0, the 2 or 3 raid. Yeah, 3 raids was it. Then you had 5.1 in Krasarang Wilds with the 2 faction bases and just doing more dailies. Now, then we had the Isle of Thunder with the Throne of Thunder raid. And what was 5.3? Was because Isle of Giants. Oh, that was
Isle
of Giants was already out.
What was that? But yeah, but you also had Isle of Giants, though, didn't you? You had that as well. You had, yeah, there was a lot
No,
more.
I'm not sure. What was patch 5.3? Escalation. Oh, that was in the Barrens. No wonder I forgot. That was pretty forgettable.
Yeah, what you call it, alliance player, it is more easily forgettable, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, it was one weekly quest basically. Although it was a great source of valor points. Now that I can't remember it since it's been a while, I guess
Yeah.
it was forgettable content. It didn't leave a lasting impression, at least.
No, not really.
So I think it's time to round things up. There's some good things coming from Blizzard, and I have to say, sadly, right now, I'm more looking forward to the Heroes and Hearthstone stuff than Warlords of Draenor because we know it's so far out. So I hope, yeah, Blizzard gives us some good news regarding to that. Because, I don't know, WoW is kind of boring at the moment. There's not much to do if you've played for so long. Maybe it is just, yeah, being burnt out from the game as a whole, or just the lack of content.
Well, I agree. I mean, to say, I don't know. Didn't we have that conversation a couple of weeks ago where we pretty much figured out this is going to be probably one of the longest?
Yeah, that was with the charts from Twitter.
Yeah, this is going to be one of the longest ones out, and it just feels longer because I agree, there just does not seem to be anything to do at the minute. I log on my alts every now and then, and it's not the most optimistic thing to do at the minute. It does get quite depressing.
No,
It
what they
does.
should have done is, had they released the news for Heroes and Hearthstone, they should have done something for World of Warcraft as well. At least, I guess they would have done that if they had something to report. Now that they haven't, it kind of gives the indication that, well, after the patch notes dump, which would happen eventually anyway, because they were going to make the changes. Have fun, guys. We're done with information for a while. Have some character models, and that's it.
Yeah, because then you get all the other bits and bobs that. This is my argument. I'm going to rant and rave now. People are screaming for information because that's what we need and that's what we want. Yet they're doing all this other stuff like the bike thing that got announced the other day, and
Oh yeah.
looks quite cool. I am a fan of that particular chopper location, but I just feel that Blizzard at the minute just really aren't very good at getting their timing right.
Yeah, they're pretty terrible at it at the moment.
Not only timing, but the focus as a whole. I mean, they've branched into so many different things that they are forgetting that WoW is still the main thing. Or
They
that's what it
trademarked
seems
another
like.
thing as well. A
Yeah, I
shooter.
saw that.
So let's
see
wait
what
and
that
see what that
becomes.
is as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's wrap things up, guys. Thanks to the viewer for watching, listening. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/weekly, at twitter.com/bbmezzy, on Google Plus now as well, and let me find the exact link because it's kind of strange. They wouldn't give us a normal one. Google.com/+WoWweeklyNet. You can also follow us there now if for some reason you like Google Plus more than other social media. You can, of course, check us out on our website, wowweekly.net. And here on YouTube as well, of course. I usually start with that one. Comment, subscribe, click the like button, let us know what you think of the episode. And yeah, keep up to date with one of the social media so that when new information or new articles, editorials, stuff like that comes out, you'll see that in your social tab straight away. I'd like to thank LJ and Matt for joining me again. It was fun to have you guys here again.
As always. Glad to be
As
here.
always. So, once again, thanks for watching / listening. I'm Mezzy, and we'll see you again next time.